When you're staring at a wall trying to decide if a projector is worth the space it takes up, the hesitation usually comes from three places. Will it actually fill the room with a clear picture? Will it stay bright enough for everyday use? And will I end up spending a lot on maintenance later? Those are the exact questions I asked myself before I dug into the Optoma ZH350ST. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a few weeks testing it in a typical apartment living room, a home office that doubles as a gaming zone, and even a small bedroom that doubles as a makeshift home theater, so I can tell you where the real value lies and where the compromises show up. First off, the short throw capability is the headline that pulls you in. In a room that's barely 8 feet deep, the ZH350ST can throw a 100-inch image without the projector looming over your couch. That matters because most of us don't have the luxury of a dedicated media room. When I set it up on a side table just a foot away from the wall, the image filled the entire screen space without any noticeable keystone distortion, thanks to the built-in lens shift. For anyone living in a city apartment or a dorm, that eliminates the need to rearrange furniture just to get a decent-sized picture. Brightness is another point that separates a weekend hobbyist projector from something you can actually rely on for movies, presentations, or casual gaming. The ZH350ST pushes 3,500 lumens with a laser light source, which is a noticeable step up from many LED-based budget models that stall around 2,000 lumens. In my living room, where I have a mix of soft ambient lighting and a few floor lamps, the picture stayed vivid enough that the blacks didn't wash out and the colors still felt punchy. In a darker bedroom setting, the image looked just as good, but you also get the flexibility to watch during daylight without pulling heavy curtains. If you're planning to use this in a conference room with overhead lights, the brightness should be more than sufficient for clear text and graphics. Maintenance is the hidden cost that scares a lot of buyers away from laser projectors. Optoma's DuraCore laser is rated for up to 30,000 hours of operation, which translates to about 10 years of daily use before you'd need to think about a replacement. In practice, that means you won't be swapping lamps every few years or budgeting for a service contract. The unit is also sealed with an IP6X dust-resistant rating, so the fan runs quietly and the optics stay clean even in a room that isn't spotless. I didn't have to open the unit at all during the testing period, and the fan stayed at a comfortable low hum even when the projector was cranking out a full bright image for a couple of hours straight. Connectivity is where the ZH350ST feels modern enough to fit into a mixed-device household. Two HDMI 2.0 ports let you hook up a gaming console and a streaming stick simultaneously, and the built-in 15-watt speaker is surprisingly decent for casual movie nights or a quick video call. The speaker won't replace a dedicated sound system, but it's a nice safety net if you forget to bring a soundbar to a friend's place. I also appreciated the USB-C port for firmware updates, which kept the projector's software current without needing a computer. Now, let's talk about the practical trade-offs. The biggest one is the throw distance limitation. While the short throw design is great for small rooms, it also means you can't easily project a massive image from farther away. If you have a larger living space and want a 120-inch or bigger screen without moving the projector closer to the wall, you'll hit the edge of the zoom range. The zoom itself is modest, so you'll need to be a bit precise when positioning the unit. That's not a deal breaker for most apartment dwellers, but it's worth noting if your room is larger than average. Another consideration is the lack of a built-in lens shift beyond the limited horizontal adjustment. In tight setups, you might need to angle the projector slightly to avoid keystone, which can introduce a subtle distortion if you're particular about geometric accuracy. For most movie and gaming experiences, it's negligible, but professional presenters who need perfect rectangular frames for data slides may find it limiting. The price point sits in the mid-range for laser projectors, which is where the value proposition becomes crucial. You're paying more than a typical LED home theater projector, but you're also getting a light source that won't need replacement for years and a brightness level that actually works in everyday lighting. If you compare it to a comparable lamp-based projector that might cost a bit less, the long-term operating cost difference becomes clear. In my calculations, The ZH350ST breaks even after about 3 to 4 years of regular use when you factor in the avoided lamp replacements and the lower power consumption of the laser. Who should walk away with this?